All right, it's good.
All right, so we've already talked about all these things, but when we talk about this particular prompt, what do we want to remind ourselves to look for in a peer's essay as we're trying to give feedback to that peer? So tell me one thing that we're going to try to look for as evidence that that essay is successful in achieving what it needs to do. Tell me one thing. Yes, Libby.
Textual references.
Okay, so we're going to look for textual references, and how many should we look for? Do we have a number?
Should just be well integrated.
Okay, integrated, that's better. I like that. Integrated and balanced, okay? You want to make sure that it has, anytime there's a new topic, you want to make sure that that's supported somehow, right? That's what I mean by balance. What else, Emma?
That they're connecting back to their pieces.
Okay, so we want to make sure that that is fluent and that there is some sort of unification of the essay, correct? All right, when we talk about pieces, think about that too. Okay, what else, Brandon?
Pretty sophisticated diction.
Okay, so again, if we're looking for that elusive, sophisticated point, you want your language to be a little bit more elevated and to utilize the language. Perhaps it used to say the center prompts. The language of literary analysis. Okay, so try to use technical terms, but don't focus so much on the technical terms and don't define them for us. So incorporating that into your own writing. Okay, how about that thesis that I brought up? What should we see in that main claim, in that main introductory paragraph? Since you already shared with them. The what?
Broader context.
Broader context. Thank you, Taylor. So you want to see something that goes beyond just the repetition of that prompt in the first place, right? We want to actually have some sort of two statement. In fact, the first essay you guys have, if you look at the topic sentence of the first body paragraph, yep, you look at that, it's exactly what we tried to do in your papers that you submitted online a week and a half ago, where it talks about through the contentious dialogue between Peregrine and Godfrey, so that's the technical element, okay, the dialogue, and the contentious, it has a descriptor to it, which we've talked about, right? Contentious. Smollett reveals the will of the men to not go against social norms and to lose themselves, showing how society tampers down the animal-like instinct of people to lash out during confrontations. So you have this to statement in there, to show what, to do what. Not just, here's what I'm going to talk about, but here's what its purpose is, right? So that topic sentence alone gives that guidance for that paragraph, and I would have probably automatically put this essay in like a higher level, just reading the intro in that first topic sentence, knowing that they were already maintained that level of focus. Okay, is there anything else we can put up here that we might have missed? What are we looking for a successful essay for this particular prompt? Yes, Libby.
If they say what the author is trying to critique about society.
Oh, so we have a satirical focus. That might be higher too. You guys, if you completely miss the satirical focus, it doesn't mean you won't be successful in this essay. It just means you've missed that higher level of sophistication. So again, it will keep you at probably a 4 range or lower, because 4 is like slightly better than middle, but it's not going to be great. But you could still be thorough in your characterization without really talking about satire. But I gave you the hint when we gave out this essay. We're doing it during satire unit, so hopefully some of you guys caught on to that and tried to find the criticism in the society's norms. What else?
Commentary that explains textual references and provides a line of reasoning.
Could you guys say that this is the number one thing that differentiates the good essays from the okay essays?
Yes.
Commentary that fully, we're going to say fully, explains textual references. Okay? So they're there, but they're not standalone. They have plentiful discussion afterwards or before even introducing why you're using that, utilizing that textual support. Okay? Yes? Okay, so our next thing that we're going to do, I'm sorry, I'm going to cover this up for a second, but I'll bring it back in a second.
Oh,
I'll bring it back. Is you're going to do some peer feedback. Now, this isn't grading, this isn't scoring, this is feedback, okay? I'm And our goal for today's feedback is to do it a little bit differently than you've done it in the past, because I'm not gonna ask that you write anything on somebody else's paper, okay? You get to choose in your group of 4 who you're gonna switch with. And if we have a group of 3, we'll figure it out, okay? But what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna change papers with somebody else. You're gonna read their essay now that you've looked at sample essays. We've talked about the prompt again. And you're going to give them at least 2, that's our goal, 2 constructive comments minimally. So as you're reading it, I don't want you to write anything on their paper, I just want you to think in your head, what would I say about this paper? Because then you're gonna have a conversation about the papers with the other person, with the writer. So here's some examples of what kinds of specific feedback I would prefer that you give. Ready? I like how your topic sentences reflect the exact wording of your thesis claim. So just what we talked about, maintaining that focus. You seem to be lacking direct textual reference in paragraph 3. See how that's kind of like, oh, this is something you could do better, but it's said in a nice and polite way, kind of like these characters in this prompt, right? Okay. And then good feedback is gonna have content quality as the focus. So not like, oh, you spelled this word wrong, or oh, I think you could fix this one transition. That's like very specific micromanagement, but what our goal is to look at content of the essay as the quality of the content and really try to focus on that. And then balancing critique and compliment. So if you want to think of 2 things, and one's like, well, this is what you did well, and this is what you could work on, which is what I gave you examples of, then that would be a great optimal way to give feedback. And then last is to ask questions. So instead of just telling somebody else this is what you should do, ask them a question that prompts them to think about what they could do. Because I try to do that in your feedback when I write on your essays. Ask you questions, okay? So what you're then gonna do, so you're gonna exchange your paper, right? You're gonna read somebody else's. You're gonna get this half sheet from me. On this half sheet, there are 2 questions. The first is an interview, pretty much. As the other person is telling you what they thought about your essay, you're gonna write down what they're writing. So you are gonna write about your own essay, and you're gonna write the feedback down. Got it? Does that make sense to everybody? So they're gonna tell you, and you're gonna write it down. You're gonna record what they say, so it's in your own handwriting. And then there's a reflection question asking you, after reviewing the essay and getting your feedback, what other things would you consider as far as adding to or improving this essay for yourself? All right, so I'm gonna pass these out, and you guys are gonna exchange essays with somebody else, and if you have a group of 3 that's odd, then just figure out round robin way to do that. And again, you're gonna probably take a couple minutes to read, so we'll be quiet for a few minutes. So everyone can have an opportunity to read one more essay today. You only have to read one more. And then you're going to have a conversation about what you saw. Got it?